Can you like say who you are or not, or why you're here or not, or just answer whatever question you would like me to ask. It's your.
I go by Indigenize the world. I'm a hip hop artist. That's how I kind of get my native voice out there, and all the issues I see and what I experience through living this chaotic world, this illusion. And I'm up here in New York, also support my sisters right here and other tribes who are banding together to fight climate and all of what they have been doing against this land ever since they came here, which is pillage and rape our people. So right now, the pillage is still going on. Now it's in a lot of domestic violent homes and public schooling, and they're still broken into our tribal governments and made them corrupt and destroyed our traditional way of governance to replace us with this American democracy, this corporatocracy. And that's what pretty much I see in my tribe on the Navajo Nation, Four Corners. And right now we are going up against a lot of fracking, and a lot of women are being hurt in the process, and a lot of men are just overlooking their children and women and the rights of our people, and pretty much selling our sovereignty. They sell the land, you selling our sovereignty. You sell the land, you sell our history. You sell the land, you sell everything that our ancestors died for. And so it's like economics is a fucking lie. Economics, capitalism, all this shit that we're being fed in public schools is all a fucking scam to make us part of this empire, And with the state, it's still the same thing as in the federal level, The state, they're gonna place really smiley. Most of the time, they're real. In New Mexico, where I'm at, they're really friendly with us, but already they're all about uranium. They're all about oil. So that's the political things that I see as a barrier for the tribal members. When it comes to political tribal elected officials, they have a different story. They're all about economic sovereignty, and that economic sovereignty is fucking bullshit. And the sovereignty we're talking about is not being told. You won't find it. You'll get a definition within the public school, but you won't see it actually manifesting or breathing in a public school, even outside. Where you will find it is in back at home, outside, no TV, no running water, no internet. That is the way of life we want to live. But we can't live that way of life. We can if we want to. But in today's world, in the ways of communication and health and food and money, we gotta adapt, and to the internet and to all these crazy ass ways of transportation also. But government should never change. Government should never change. How government changes is the only time when the people change. That's how they destroyed us. So when this fucking bullshit hit our system, and they created tribal and federal Indian governments, that's where they all played out. And that's where the treaties and all these things, they really broke us down tribe by tribe. But each tribe has their different history, their different voice, their different relationship with the federal government, all alongside with the states. But no matter what, when you're talking about tribal relations, you're talking about cultural exchange. So a lot of these chiefs and a lot of the head men and head women knew too much about the enemy. That's why they also killed us, because we knew too much of what motivated. Everybody's like, why do we live in this world today? We knew the reason. They wanted the land, they wanted to kill us to make them into them. That's the whole goal. And that's not, and now they already did that to their own people before they even came here. So that's the truth. So when you talk about American, that's a fucking illusion. You have more roots to the ancient world than that American name itself. And so that's what I'm totally against. Everything federal, anything state, anything that's government official, anything about that, because that's not where it's at. You're going to sell your soul if you go along that way. You're going to be a fucking slave and a captive, in which we are still today. If we choose to be sovereign, guaranteed they'll break down the peace treaties and let us go back to prisoners of war. And that's the real. Because when it comes to speaking truth and speaking the real history about America, they don't want to hear that. All they want to hear about is what people want to hear. They want to hear the wars. They want to hear the revolution. They want to hear all of this bullshit. But how does the change really start? You'll learn a lot from history, but history is repeating right now. You got to live in the moment, but you got to know your history. The most important side of history, I say, looking at through natives' eyes, looking at this Western colonial history, I say the Dark Ages is what we need to look at. And there is where you'll find your motive, but you're not going to find it here in America. You're going to have to go to the British museums. You're going to have to go to the Mexico City museums. You're going to have to go to Italy and Spain museums to understand why America is today. Why is it the empire of the world? You know, so that's the truth. And through Native American voice saying that, you're number one target. So that's why I really don't go around, because I do a lot of frontline activism, and I face the cops, push the cops, punch the cops, arrest the cops, police the police. That's my job on this type of movement. When it comes to organizing all that, that's nothing. But I'd rather not do all that, because it's going to create more lateral hate. And I know I have a very different opinion and experience than most other Native organizers. So it's still not all peaceful in front of Native American movements. A lot of Natives are sellouts too. They just want to be in front of the camera. They just want to say, I'm all about this, but they don't do shit in their communities. And they don't. That's why, as a hip hop artist, I'd rather stay on the front lines, have more time on the front lines than on stage. That's just the moral statement I'm trying to set among other Native American artists who say they're about the movement, but they don't know shit about their own community. They just know the federal Indian history. They don't know anything 1491 and before. They don't know that. That's what we need to know as indigenous people. The more we know 1491 and before, the more we know that we are already at that one world citizen state. We were a part of this whole one world, I tell you that. And the more you go deeper into indigenous studies, instead of those whole political bullshit and tribal government, we're only domesticating ourselves if we want to become federal Indians. That's domestication. Our linguistic principles, our linguistic concepts reach overseas. That's how deep we are. So we should not be working on a federal policy. We should be working on UN. But the America don't want to understand that connection that we have worldwide. Connections to Africa, to Egypt. We have a lot of these connections that we also, as indigenous, need to understand that it's there.
Like Malcolm X said, you can't take the United States to court. You have to take them to world court.
Yep, exactly, because they're dealing with world citizens. Because if the indigenous people, white, black, yellow, and brown, and red, then once they know their roots before the wars, but if they start understanding their way of life, their language, then they have to do that on the United Nations level, because they're dealing with linguistics. If people understand their linguistics, like for one of the tribes that I live by, they're called the Zuni Pueblo, and their linguistic ties go to the west side of Africa, west coast of Africa. So you deal with all this federal bullshit. This is all domestic law. This is all domestic law. This is domestication of a people. And with Native people trying to get behind these movements, they have to have a big voice, say we are not trying to be domestic. We're trying to get on that UN status, because within the United Nations law, you are not bound by territory boundaries. You are guided through linguistic concepts. That is why America does not want to go to world court.
What would you like the people in front of you to do? Like people who come to actions, but also people on the street who may not be. What would you like people to do?
I say, first of all, it starts with self-acceptance. That's where it is. And then you start educating yourself. You got to accept your flaws. You got to accept the hate, the grief, all this craziness that this world tries to bring out of you and make you say, this is who I am. But we are who we are. But one thing, the beauty about this world is that we can grow. Our thoughts we get to plant seeds wherever we go. And with that is the beauty we leave behind. So with somebody that does not have self-acceptance, then they ain't going to move. They're going to be weak. When the cops come, they're just going to get up and go. When they say the march is over, they're just going to go home. So where is the real change?
Yeah.
It's not holding a banner. It's not screaming and shouting. It's really doing the work and changing yourself, your eating habits, the way you drink, most importantly, the way you think. That is the real change. Talk about direct action. That's the most direct you can get. That's direct action through a Native eyes. You take direct action every day because you're not going along with the fucking crowd. You're going along with your heart. You're not going along because someone said this is a good campaign, you should follow us. Nah. You feel it. You know it. You can even see it how the person is giving you the message, how their demeanor is. If they're just all about the money and getting paid for it, then fuck that movement. That's what I say. They might be all good-hearted, but still, you're talking about change, you got to get real with yourself. Because it's for us indigenous people, it's critical. Either we lose our way of life and just let the world go, or we stand up and say what the reality is. The reality is people need to step up and check themselves and accept themselves. Because that's what it is. Because I see a lot of organizers hearing indigenous voices that they break down because of white grief. But it's not about your generation, it's the past generation. It's just your generation needs to understand and do a little bit more history on us. Not your college degrees. You won't find our truth within those institutions. You ain't going to find that. What you're going to find is all kinds of federal Indian bullshit after the wars. If you want to find who we are, you got to come to us and we can tell you what happened before the wars. And that's the beauty we want to keep. Those stories that happened before 1492. That's the beauty we want to keep. And that worldview is still here living today. And that worldview is at home, taking care of the land. That's the real change. And that person who's keeping that ancient love still alive loves themselves, loves their land, loves their home, loves their body, loves everything about themselves.
What do we do about Christianity? I mean, it's like
they got to know that that's a fucking lie too. They got to know about Christianity. I mean, all religions got to break out. Even my culture had to break out.
So what do we put in its place? I'm an animist. Are you an animist?
I don't know. I'm whatever you want to call me. Guaranteed I'm not.
Well,
because I'm who I am. You can put a label on me.
Belief that there are spirits and souls in all things.
Yeah, that's the only way. I mean, it's energy. There's physics, quantum physics. Like, how can you? Science already proven that, you know. So it's like people just got to do their research and break out of their comfort zone. You can't be comfortable. This world is not made to be comfortable. You're made to work. You got to be strong in this world. It's not all about doing research all the time. It's all about getting out there and getting that physical experience in this conversation, human to human contact, instead of over the internet videos and all that. That's cool too. It's what this time needs, but the more technology dependent we get, the more we're gonna lose that word, the power of word and language. So
I'm gonna be on the streets. That's where I feel like we need to be. Not just here and now, but try to be there every day. Like public speaking, canvassing, finding our voices. Get more
down because you're a state citizen, so you need to know your state laws. You need to know everything about a state citizen, privilege, benefits, and services. That's all you have. You have no freedom. There's no freedom in that. All you get is benefits, privileges, and services. That's all you get. That's all we get. We don't get we don't got sovereignty. You're only sovereign when you apply it. And that comes with attitude and a history that they don't want to talk about.
I'm running out of battery.
It's all good.
I would love to keep going.
There's so much shit going on. I can talk forever. That's why I don't want to be in front of camera. I keep going. But sometimes
you're awesome.
I can't help but cuss because that's how pissed off when I get talk about this stuff. I get pissed off. So.
Just being honest, just being real.
That's
true.
Right.
True to you.
Exactly.
You can
check out my music. Indigenize world.
Do you want to do
SoundCloud.com Indigenize.
The lyrics real fast?
My voice is out.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Awesome, bro.
That was 15 minutes.
Wow.